What I did today was a bit messy, that's why I didn't record anything, because I had no idea what I was going to do in the next part. I started following out the template. I'm gonna use this part to route everything. It's very fragile. And I managed to prepare everything for the final glue up after I hollow out the actual ash body. So here is the maple on top of it, and I use the drill bits to make sure everything is in place. The maple is a bit warped. I hope the clamps will be enough to fix everything when I actually glue it up, and like that was able to trace with a pencil on the side of the maple, so I can cut that later on. And that's almost it. I'm still missing one of the holes. I'm going to do it right now. That's how it will be with the brass tube, with the brass cylinder, which will go partly into the body and completely through the top. And now what I'm going to do is, I don't know. Well, actually I'm going to work a bit on the cavity cover. That's how it looks like, roughly cut. It looks quite good. Now that the truss rod fits, I'm going to glue in the fretboards. And now the fretboard is routed flush. When I was routing the body, a part of it, of this one, just went off, and now I have to bevel the body with a 45-degree angle to make sure no one will see that horrendous shit thing. And now I have to bevel this with a 45-degree angle to make sure no one will see that. I'm going to route as close to this as possible, so it doesn't remove too much matter and doesn't look too ugly. Well, actually, removing this mistake would have meant removing way too much wood, so I finished the bevel, and then now I'm going to glue this part, which is quite probably the one that came off. I'm gonna clean this up with a chisel, this part too, glue it back, and put the bevel back on. Now that I've begun hollowing everything with the drill press, I'm just going to make one pass with the router, a cleaning pass, and then I will use the template to make the sides, and I'm going to begin by those because they are the most fragile. this side and this one are done. Now I'm going to work on the last part and the center. That's where I'm going to stop for today. I mean, I didn't go all the way through, obviously, but the tip of the drill bit is almost, I mean, maybe 1 millimeter far from where I want to stop. So I'm going to leave this one to sit for the rest of the day. I mean, it's already a bit late. And I will work on the fretboard off camera, because you all know what working on the fretboard is like. You know, just the radius, the slot, making sure everything's up depth, and I'll probably fret everything tomorrow. And now I'm going to route the rest of the hollow part of the guitar, and I'll work my way to the right depth. After probably 3 passes, that's where I am. I'll probably sand the bottom when I'm completely done with it. The middle part will be harder than the rest to level, and I'll have to make those edges perfect. Like, I'll probably use a piece of MDF just to make a straight line and route to the bottom, and here too. I'm going to record this very quickly because the camera is running low on battery. So I use those little holes in the template to place this one template that broke. So now I got the hole for the magnet, the outline of the cavity, and I'm going to mark with a chisel or just a cutting blade the outline of the actual cavity cover, so it's easier to make it after. While I was working on the cavity, I realized that I had made a mistake with cover template. I fixed that later on in the day, and now, while I can still make some noise, I'm going to cut the maple for the left side of the guitar. First half is cut. Okay, so I quite forgot to record. I put the cavity cover to its size, drilled the little hole for the magnets, and I have to sand this, but it's basically done. And now I'm working on the actual cavity. I marked that with a blade, and now I'm just making the dimensions of the cavity, and then I'll make for the cover when all that is routed. We are on the weekend and I'm not supposed to make much sound, so I worked a bit on the cavity. Now I'm just gonna finish the jointing of the second part of maple. I won't record anything from now on because I have to stay focused on the build and not anything else, and I have to hurry up as I only have until maybe Tuesday to work on this. I mean, not the finish, but the overall build. It's gonna be short, and I don't want to lose time. So until the demo, no recording. Well, I worked a bit more, and now I got those holes in the neck. They're not for screws, but for the brass. And I'm not gonna do it because it takes quite a lot of time just to make everything fit, but everything is good. As you can see, I bled a bit more on this part. The neck pocket on the right side is done. I have to finish it on the left side, and the neck I started a bit of footwork on the neck. I just finished making the control cavity. Instead of using my router with the template, I just use my saw, and I think it's quite nice. And now I'm using my, can probably say, router sled to remove the inside.